helmet fire. What is my favorite pinch me moment that I've had where Mythbusters put me in the room? Dude, there's too many to count. Sitting in a green room chatting amiably with Jim Cameron about firing guns into water. Because it turned out Jamie and I were at some Discovery event and Cameron was being awarded something at the event. So the three of us had about 45 minutes in a green room. And Cameron was really gracious about the show and said his kids watched it because he thought it was excellent television. And it also turns out that, unsurprisingly, Cameron had tried many of the things we did on Mythbusters just recreationally. And he described that there was one weekend on The Abyss when they weren't filming in the big water tank and they brought out some guns and they shot them into the water. So he figured out all the same stuff we did doing our episode. Another honorary Mythbuster, Jim Cameron. D. Friendly wants to ask, he's chasing up some old Mythbuster leads and says, I recently watched the episode where you searched for Jimmy Hoffa, the famous Union leader supposedly buried in the Meadowlands. I'm curious if the pigs entombed in front of M5 are still there or if they were ever exhumed. So we wanted to go to the Meadowlands and look for Jimmy Hoffa using a tool called ground penetrating radar. But we wanted to calibrate it. So we actually dug up the sidewalk in front of M5 and we took 2 pig carcasses and we put them in there and then we poured concrete over it and then we calibrated our ground penetrating radar with that. Funny story. This is the first time we hired a concrete contractor. And I think this is early days. So I don't even know that if we got a permit. But we dig up the front of the sidewalk. We dig out all the dirt. We hire the concrete truck. And he runs the concrete tube over to where it is. And he's getting ready to start to pour. And my producer, again, this is first season, second season. And my producer was like, go talk to him. Make some content. Go ask him some questions. This is I didn't know anything about hosting a show at this point. So I walk over to the concrete guy, who's this big avuncular sweet dude, and I say, have you ever buried a body? It was the first question in my head. And he goes, without missing a beat, dude, I bring the tube up to the door you're pouring concrete in. What happens after that, I don't know about. And then I thought, but you have knowingly buried a body. I'm sure that given the response and the careful wording of your response tells me that you have participated in burying a body. What? Yeah. So, are the pigs still there in front of Jamie's shop? Yes, they are. We did end up drilling down and looking inside, I think. And when we did, most of the pig was gone. So what is in front of M5 are 2, I believe, pig-shaped voids in concrete with some bones and other stuff at the bottom. You're welcome for that delightful image. Marcel Borgman wants to know, did Jamie wear anything other than his white shirt? Okay, let's explain the white shirt. Mythbusters was very, very low fidelity. Which is to say, nobody ever gave Jamie and I any advice about hosting a show. When the show was doing well and we were doing a lot of press, Discovery paid for us to do a media training. If you ever do a media training, if you ever get a chance to do a media training, it's fascinating. That one of the first things everyone learns in their first media training is if someone asks you a question that is difficult to answer, you can just answer a different question. And most people won't challenge you on that. I have found that a fascinating lens with which to view the world. But the other thing is that no one, I think within the first day of shooting the pilot, my cameraman, Paul Henry, was looking at me through the lens of his camera, and he pulled it to the side and said, hey, if you could just basically wear roughly the same thing every day, that would be great for cutting. And so Jamie and I both went out when the show awarded, when the pilot's awarded, we both had the same thought that we should probably wear something similar every day. And Paul confirmed that. And so I went out and bought a whole bunch. I went to like 3 different thrift stores in the Mission and bought just a whole bunch of black t-shirts. I thought black t-shirts and jeans, it's sort of my uniform anyway. And Jamie, knowing that's how I dressed, was like, I'll choose a white shirt. It's a nice contrast. He's thinking of the contrast between us. He really regretted choosing the white shirt. He found them to be a real pain in the ass. He had to keep like 10 dry cleaned all the time to have 5 for a week. When they got dirty, the reason they were so clean is he always had an extra one in the office. And if he got a stain on one, he'd just go up to his office, change into the other shirt and come on back down. There's no magic to Jamie's white shirts. But he hated those white shirts by the end of the show. Space Pope has donated a super chat. Thank you, Space Pope. And doesn't have a question to ask, but just wants to say thank you. Thank you for being kind and sharing your journey with us. You're welcome, Space Pope. Space Pope is forever grateful for the impact we've had. Oh, you're so welcome. And we hope to meet at ECCC, Emerald City Comic Con. Excellent. I will see you there. Oh, right. Pinch me moments. I went to the White House as a Mythbuster, dude. Obama said, are we busting any myths today? That's crazy. That's just crazy. That's another pinch me moment. What do I think is the other team, Carrie, Tori, and Grant's greatest accomplishment? Dude, I think P-Ice is an astounding story. This is the myth that an airplane toilet can get leaky and that the pee and other stuff from an airplane toilet can leak out of a plane and freeze into giant crapbergs on the side of the plane and then fall off. And occasionally these poop pee popsicles land on Earth and they go through houses occasionally. And Tori, Carrie, and Grant set up an experimental methodology in which they were able to get an airplane fuselage in a wind tunnel that was freezing cold. Again, this is all like hats off to the producers who found this location. And then they built a methodology where the airplane toilet leaked and created this large iceberg, and then it fell off. And there's this just take of Grant and Tori being like, bah, 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 bah. Like, just one of my favorite takes to camera. And I really specifically remember when they came back from that location, I think it was a travel shoot, and it was like everyone in the office just like crowded over the high-speed camera to watch the shot. Just amazing. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I wanted to briefly mention that you could become a tested member. I know, everybody is competing for you to become a member of their thing. What I want to express to you is that the Tested membership has become such an important part of the Tested family. We get tremendous feedback from the Tested members, and they expand the stories that we can tell and the things that we have access to. And you can become a part of it right now by clicking on the link below. See you in the chat.